The fall of Constantinople in 1453 marked one of the most significant events in world history. It not only represented the end of the thousand-year-old Byzantine Empire but also symbolized the beginning of a new era led by the Ottoman Empire. This event was not merely a change of rulers, it was a profound transformation of the political, economic, religious, and cultural geography of both Europe and Asia. For centuries, Constantinople had stood as a bastion of Eastern Christianity, a city that served as a bridge between East and West. Its fall echoed the distant past of ancient Rome and heralded the coming of new times. The story of this siege involves heroism, strategy, religion, science, and betrayal. It was also a battle of civilizations, the declining Christian Byzantine and the rising Muslim Ottoman. This narrative aims to explore not only the military and political facts but also the human and symbolic impact of this historical event. Before 1453, the Byzantine Empire was merely a shadow of its former glory. Once rulers of vast territories across the eastern Mediterranean, the dominion had shrunk to Constantinople and a few enclaves in Greece and Asia Minor. Its military was weak, its economy enfeebled, and internal politics plagued with strife. The loss of key territories to the Seljuk Turks and later to the Ottomans had progressively weakened the defenses. Moreover, the Crusades, especially the Fourth, had severely damaged the empire. The capture of Constantinople by Latin Crusaders in 1204 left deep political and cultural scars. Although the city was retaken in 1261, it never regained its former greatness. By the mid-15th century, the empire was virtually surrounded by Ottoman territory and had become nearly isolated. Within this context of decline, the Byzantine Empire remained a symbol of cultural and spiritual resilience. While Latin Europe was entering the Renaissance, Constantinople clung to its Greco-Roman and Orthodox traditions. The city was still a beacon of art, education, and religion, though increasingly threatened by the rising power of Mehmed II.
During the 13th and 14th centuries, on the borders between the Islamic and Christian worlds, a new power emerged that would change history: the Ottoman Empire. Founded by Osman I, this Turkish state expanded rapidly due to its agile military structure, internal organization, and its ability to absorb and adapt to the cultures it encountered. Over time, the Ottomans consolidated their power in Asia Minor and the Balkans, becoming a direct threat to Constantinople. A decisive moment in Ottoman history came with the rise to power of Mehmed II, also known as Mehmed the Conqueror. At just 19 years old, he ascended the throne with a clear vision: to make Constantinople the capital of his empire. Mehmed was young but ambitious, educated in both Islamic sciences and Western culture. He spoke several languages and was a brilliant strategist, qualities that would define his rule. In the early years of his reign, Mehmed II solidified his authority, reorganized the army, and strengthened the navy. He knew that conquering Constantinople meant overcoming the city's legendary defenses, so he invested in military technology, especially large cannons capable of breaching the ancient walls. But his preparations extended beyond the battlefield. He forged alliances, studied the city's weaknesses, and took advantage of the political divisions within the Christian West. The rise of the Ottoman Empire was therefore a blend of political pragmatism, military might, and strategic vision. Constantinople was not only a military goal, but a symbol. For Mehmed, its conquest would continue the tradition of great world empires. He understood the symbolic value of the city and aspired to transform it into an imperial capital for Islam and for the future of Eurasia. This period was key to understanding why Constantinople was increasingly surrounded and weakened. While the Byzantine Empire shrank, divided and lacking support from the West, the Ottoman Empire grew with determination. The figure of Mehmed II represents this moment of transition, when a new world order was about to emerge. During the 15th century, Eastern Europe was undergoing constant transformation, marked by political tensions, territorial fragmentation, and the rise of new powers. The medieval balance that had defined much of the continent for centuries was beginning to crumble, giving way to a redefinition of borders and authority. The Byzantine Empire, once a dominant regional power, was in critical decline. Its territory had been reduced to a few cities, including Constantinople itself, and its political, military, and economic influence was severely limited. Despite diplomatic efforts to gain Western support, religious divisions between the Catholic and Orthodox churches, as well as the lack of interest from many European kingdoms, hindered an effective response to the Ottoman threat. In the Balkans, the situation was equally complex. Various principalities such as Serbia, Bulgaria, and Wallachia were weakened by internal conflicts, external pressure, and the ever-growing threat from the Ottomans. Some attempted to resist through temporary alliances or by appealing to the papacy, while others gradually fell under Ottoman control through conquest or vassalage. Further north, Poland and Lithuania formed a powerful union that sought to assert influence over the eastern territories, though they also faced challenges from the Teutonic Knights and growing tensions with Muscovy. The latter, the Principality of Moscow, was beginning to rise as a new power under the leadership of the early Tsars, who aspired to inherit the Byzantine legacy as the Third Rome. To the west of the Black Sea, the Kingdom of Hungary stood as a key stronghold against the Ottoman advance. Under leaders like John Hunyadi, Hungary resisted many incursions, although over time it had to give ground to the growing Ottoman pressure. This region thus became a dynamic and dangerous frontier, where two worlds confronted each other, Latin and Orthodox Christianity against the Ottoman Islamic expansion. The geopolitical landscape of 15th-century Eastern Europe was, therefore, a complex web of shifting powers. The weakening of traditional states made room for the rise of new forces like the Ottomans and the Russians, while others struggled to survive. This unstable context helps explain how and why Constantinople eventually fell in 1453, marking a new era in the history of Eurasia. Constantinople, known as the Queen of Cities, was for centuries one of the most imposing, wealthy, and strategically located metropolises in the world. Founded by Constantine the Great in 330 AD, it became the capital of the Byzantine Empire and the jewel of the Eastern Christian world. Its privileged location between Europe and Asia, bordered by the waters of the Bosphorus, the Golden Horn, and the Sea of Marmara, made it a vital crossroads for trade, culture, and politics. One of its most remarkable features was its formidable wall system. The Theodosian walls, built in the 5th century, were a triple line of defense surrounding the city by land, an inner wall, an outer wall, and a wide moat, making them nearly impregnable for centuries. These walls stretched over 5 kilometers from the Sea of Marmara to the Golden Horn and were reinforced by towers, battlements, and fortified gates. Additionally, the Golden Horn was protected by a massive chain that blocked enemy ships from entering the harbor. Inside the city, Constantinople featured large paved avenues, aqueducts, forums, palaces, and public squares. The Hagia Sophia, with its majestic dome and revolutionary architecture, stood as the spiritual and cultural symbol of the city. Nearby, the imperial palace, public baths, hippodromes, and covered markets completed a vibrant and cosmopolitan metropolis. The city was divided into administrative and religious districts, with monasteries, gardens, libraries, and schools. Its population included Greeks, Armenians, Syrians, Italians, and Slavs, reflecting its international character. Constantinople was also a diplomatic and commercial hub, home to embassies, consulates, and merchants from across the known world. Thanks to its advanced engineering and water storage system, the city could endure long sieges. Cisterns such as the Basilica cistern allowed the population to be supplied with water even during extended blockades. All of this made Constantinople one of the most legendary symbols of resilience in the Middle Ages.